Good evening and welcome to the Minions of the Zoo Saturday edition. I'm your host and keeper of the Harry Channel, and with me tonight is what's left of my cold, Serenity Star 13.
Oh, I mean, what's left of your cold? Woohoo!
Yeah, I
All right.
introduced it.
Hi, everybody.
And Serenity Star 13, SkepTok.
Hi, everybody.
Sora Luna.
Hello, hello.
And I think DrFunctional's on the he's on the injured reserve right now.
He's in sick bay.
He's in sick bay. It's not going so well. He's got like a cold or something.
And he's in our winter storm warning, which is doubly fun.
Let's see if I resize this window. Will people be able to see that you're here? Yes. Look at that. Science. Okay. So, gosh.
You're so smart.
I know. So much stuff has been happening in the last week. I mean, between all the stuff that's been going on in politics and all the stuff that's been going on in the world and all the stuff that's been going on with me personally, it's been a hell of a week at work. It's been a lot of sort of stuff. Have
you made any progress on replacing that Newsom fellow?
No. That right now in some polls that I'm seeing, they're saying that Cackles Weinbach's is potentially the leader. Can you imagine? I actually couldn't remember her name.
Yeah.
This is a thing.
Kamala.
Kamala. Yeah. This is a thing that I do because I'm terrible with names. We've already established this, first names especially. If I can't remember the name of something, I just make something up.
Right.
And frequently the thing I make up is actually funnier than the actual name. So I think I told you I couldn't remember the name of Sonic the Hedgehog. So I called him Turbo the Rolling Ferret. I just couldn't.
Inadvertently stumbling on an even better name.
Yeah. This happens to be like all the time that something like that happens. Or if I see something out of the corner of my eye and I don't see it clearly, I usually imagine something way more entertaining than what's actually there.
Right.
But anyway, enough about me. How's your week been, Skep?
Oh, it's been good. We got the carrots are in, peppers are in, the potatoes are in. And Brenda went out and dug the furrows by herself. I usually help with that. To put in the beans. So most of the plant is done. Most of the plant is just about done. We've been contenting ourselves with putting in sprigs of in the least entertaining battles of nature ever is probably between St. Augustine and Bermuda grass. But we insert sprigs of St. Augustine amongst the Bermuda grass and then entertain ourselves for months watching them fight it out for the territory. It's what passes for entertainment down here.
Yeah, you could do a time-lapse thing. It would be kind of entertaining.
And set it to war music, epic soundtracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
Skip, we talk about all kinds of human medical stuff, but I don't think you and I have ever really talked about herbicides.
No.
And the thing about
But did you know that I set up the first database for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers for their pesticide database, their national database? I did that. For real.
If I felt better, I could probably spin that into an Agent Orange joke, but it's still too soon. Yeah.
I'd learn all about pesticides.
I feel like they knew about pesticides before you showed up. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, a lot of the stuff with the herbicides is they have a number of different mechanisms of operation, right? But the main thing that differentiates the things you're trying to kill in your lawn and from the things you're not trying to kill is just surface area. That's all it is, right?
Monocots and dicots, basically.
Grass just comes up, and it's like this little thin thing. Surface area to volume is relatively low versus a dandelion, which has this big flat leaf that just soaks up of it. So it's like antibiotics. You're just killing weeds or inhibiting their growth. It depends on which kind of insecticide it is. But it doesn't
greatly
know.
Depends on the shape of the leaf, basically.
It doesn't know anything about whether something's grass or a weed. It doesn't know. It's just about the shape. It's just kill everything, but kill things that look like grass less. That's all. That's all
Well,
this stuff does.
They actually, some of it they encase it in oils, so that it's absorbed differently or at different times. It stays on the thing longer. That kind of stuff.
It doesn't just wash off in the morning dew. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
They do some stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I know that a lot of people who work in the ag industry get way too much herbicide just in the course of their work. And people are sloppy and irresponsible. But overall, herbicides in terms of humans are pretty safe from what I've seen. Yeah, you can find a study that will support whatever conclusion you want, but there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of studies that say that glyphosate is actually safe.
Well, also glyphosate, when it gets put in boiling water, becomes inert.
Yeah. It breaks down.
It flies apart is what happens.
Well, that's what I mean. Even if there was a toxicity level, it goes away when it gets boiled.
It explodes without releasing a lot of energy, but it explodes. It does.
Yeah. Well, while we have Serenity on the line, hi Serenity.
Yo.
How's the Kermit Green state of West Virginia this week?
Getting greener because we're just raining.
Nice.
Like I was talking to Sora earlier, and I just keep getting updates on my phone where it's like, flash flood warning has been changed. It's like, yes, I know. It's been raining like a son of a bitch. Whether in NOAA, NOAA, or whatever the hell they're called.
National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration.
Stop giving me alerts. I know I'm on a hill. There's nothing I can do at this point. No, if the waters come for me, the waters come for me. I can't stop them at this point.
Yeah.
They shouldn't because I'm too high up, but...
No. Well, you're in a holler.
I am in the foothills of a holler.
Oh.
So there's a holler below me. Like a very below me.
So if it rains enough, you get a bunch of new neighbors really quickly.
Possibly, or animals running for high ground, but yes.
Okay. Well, okay.
Because I'm on the same level as there's train tracks about half a mile from me that I can hear because they're up against the other side of mountains.
Mm-hmm. What predators do you have? You've got bears there, don't you?
Jesus Christ, yeah.
But have you got mountain lions?
Oh fuck yeah.
Cobras?
We got bobcats, lynxes,
coyotes.
Coyotes. We have a lot of coyotes.
Well, they're not really predators for humans, but yeah.
They act them.
But you have an eastern diamondback up there too.
Yep, we have 2 or 3 different types.
You have
of
the little ones.
snakes.
You have the mountain eastern diamondback, which are smaller, but they're still mean.
Oh yeah, what's
really
I think
aggressive.
So everyone keeps trying to take West Virginia's title away from us, but we are the most biodiverse state on the eastern seaboard. On the East Coast, not Eastern Seaboard. Someone kept trying to say it was
on the right side of the Mississippi.
Yeah. Some people were trying to say it was Alabama at one point, and I'm like, no, you don't. Shut up. We have a smaller population than you. Shut up. There's back hills here that you ain't seen nothing yet.
The thing about Alabama is it is very diverse if you go from north to south. I mean, there's really a lot of change. You're basically going from the foothills of the Smokies to the Guff, as they call it down there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I've had to drive through it more than once. But it's just we have bobcat, lynx, not wolverines. Oh, badgers. There's the word. We have fishers. We have otters. The otters are rare, but they're coming back.
Have you got beavers?
We do have beavers. I have had a turf war with a couple. I've had
ornery fucking animals.
I've had turf wars with beavers before. We've had we've had to have come to Jesus meetings.
What happened? I want to know about this.
Oh, I kept pissing them off because I kept breaking their dam. Because they were.
What? Oh.
Yeah, but because their dam was between us and the railroad.
Yeah.
And.
Oh, I see.
And it was one of those things like it was just the creek, but I couldn't take the chance of them building it out to what they wanted to build it out to, because if that then floods, we're all fucked. So I kept breaking their dam, and like one of them I think tried to follow me home to hurt me.
Yeah.
Because at one point the dogs lose their fucking minds, and so do the cats. And then I hear this because beavers will slap their tail.
Yeah.
when they're trying to tell people to leave them alone.
Yeah.
And I hear doot 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 doot, and I'm like, Did it follow me whole? What are we mobsters now? What is this?
Yes.
It's coming up to you. What's up? What's up?
That's what I was expecting.
What's
Because they're
good?
mean.
Huh?
And I think once the beaver realized that I had a posse that just wasn't following me around, I think the beavers were like, how about we just go somewhere else? But yeah, we have beavers, we have fishers, we have weasels, otters, black bears. What else do we have? We have all kinds of freaking bald eagles have come down here a few times. They don't live here natively usually, but they've shown up every once in a while. We have golden hawks. We got a bunch of shit down here. And then we have shit that people have released into the wild that they shouldn't have. We have a kangaroo that randomly is running through Wayne County. There's allegedly a panther, but no one really knows if it's an actual panther, like it's a jaguar or leopard, or if it's just like a fluke melanated mountain lion.
Wasn't a panther a black jaguar? Do I remember that, or is that?
Panthers can technically be either leopard or jaguar. The jaguars are bigger and scarier. Yeah.
Yeah. Jaguar is a big fucking cat.
Technically, it's just a melanated leopard or jaguar. But that's
so leopard of color,
basically. At one point, at least from what my grandfather says, back when he was young, there was rumors that there was a brown bear down here, aka a big bear.
Because you've got black bears, right?
Yeah, we've got black bears, and then we've fishers are terrifying. For those who do not know what a fisher is, a fisher is one of the largest cousins of the weasel family.
Weasels,
and they like to fish. But they're terrifying because their fur is the color of tree bark. So if you're walking up on a tree limb and you're not expecting to see one and it all of a sudden moves, scares the shit out of you every time.
Oh my god, it's adorable. I have never seen this animal before.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen them a few
Their
times.
hands.
Sora's found her new favorite.
Oh, we have them in Nova Scotia. Okay.
They're fairly widespread.
Okay.
Probably domesticate them.
I would be amazed if you couldn't. I wouldn't recommend it, but I would be amazed if you couldn't. But the badgers around here aren't too bad. We don't have British badgers though.
Those are lovely. I love British badgers.
Yeah, we don't. Ours look like meth addicts.
Or honey badgers. Because it's not Africa.
That would be terrifying, actually.
The meth addicts?
Awesome.
You see a honey badger, you go the other way.
Yeah, I wish we had British badgers here. Oh, we have foxes too.
Oh, I love foxes. Here's I'm sharing in the chat here for those of you who want to see what that's from Wikipedia for what a fisher is.
Oh, also about
adorable.
10 years ago, I'm going to give the prey animals their time on the shine. Some senator here got the bright idea to have 2 herds of 75 elk released into the state. We don't know what's happened to them.
Great plan or greatest plan?
Depends on how you look at it. They've just disappeared. They've gone into the back hills of West Virginia and gone poof.
Well, it's a better plan than letting a bunch of hippos loose in the Amazon.
Well, yeah, but the issue is that all you need is deer are bad enough to hit a car. I don't want to think about an elk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Deer or others of their elk.
What's the likelihood of someone just eating them?
The fishers or the elk?
The elk.
The thing is that that's 150 of them big bitches.
Yeah,
West Virginia.
All old elk get eaten. Period.
They
in
do.
the wild, unless they get hunted, they get eaten. The old ones get eaten. That's just it.
Which is true, but it's that whole fact of there's barely 1.5 million people in my state.
Yeah.
The amount of people who would have to have the gumption to kill an elk because they're not easy to kill, let alone haul that motherfucker.
You'd have to have a license for the elk, right?
Down here, you just have to have a generic hunting license. You don't have to have a specific one for them. Yeah. And if you have private property down here, you can hunt all year round. You just have to declare what you've hunted. That's all you have to do.
Can you hunt communists?
If they come on your property, you can, because don't forget, this is a castle doctrine state.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
In other states, you have to tag and release them.
Exactly.
Yeah. I just want to know if there's a bag limit.
Then usually the only time we have a bag limit is if to speak seriously about it. But the only time we have a bag limit is with deer, and that's usually only if we have a really, really dry previous season.
Mm-hmm.
If we have a drought, or our version of a drought, not California's version of
What do
California.
you have? Do you have whitetail up there?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
our main. As someone who got real, this shows you how country I am. I've hit a deer with my car on a highway.
Sure.
And it was a tiny little Honda Civic, poor little thing. The thing that pissed me off the most about hitting the deer was the fact that it was a 6-point buck, and I could tell from when I saw it when I hit it. And that's how country I am. I went, that's a 6-point buck. Boom. Damn it, I killed it.
Wow.
Why could you have not done that in front of my gun? Well, technically no. But anyway. But yeah, no, that's the... Yes, Mr. Yes, there are elk in West Virginia. Somewhere. We don't know where, but they're somewhere.
Do they have a club?
Ba-doom.
You know, all those weird clubs that they used to have. You know, I understand the Rotary was like basically like a business thing, right? It was the businessman's thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then they had
Rotary,
the Elks
Kiwanis,
Lodge, which was...
Odd Fellow.
Yeah, the Odd Fellows. They had all these ones, and they all had their own little weird slants to them, right?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like if some people would join the Masons, then they would just sort of, when they weren't doing their secret rituals, they could drive around in tiny cars and put their little Shiner hats on, or Shriner hats, right? You know, so
They did.
Well, we do have Elk Club down here, though, because we have several of the Elk Lodge buildings around here.
Remember the Lions Club? Lions Club was all about the blind, helping the blind.
yeah, and the Rotary.
Glasses for people who had vision impairment.
The Rotary did. They had sort of a Toastmasters-ish kind of angle to it too, didn't they? They did. They seemed to do a lot of speaking.
My dad was in Rotary for years and years, for decades, and he's still in it. As a matter of fact, he doesn't go to meetings anymore.
Yeah.
He still keeps up with them, and there's a focus on presenting. You know, every Rotary luncheon, somebody gets up and does a presentation, talks for about an hour about something that they know about. One of the most entertaining was a gastroenterologist got up and talked about the nature of farts and what constituted farts and where various kinds of farts came from and what they meant.
Yeah. You know what we've forgotten about, though? We've forgotten two things.
Yes,
We've forgotten
I'm sorry.
Sora.
Well,
So I think Sora, maybe you can take care of the other thing we forgot. Can you greet the people in chat for me, please?
Sure.
If Skep doesn't mind, I think he's okay.
No.
with it.
Absolutely. I've been talking too much. Talk to other
You're
people.
fine, but let's let Sora greet the chat.
So, from the beginning, thank you for joining us, Mr. Yes, Libertarian Duelist, Casual, Nothing to See Here, us in the chat here, which I won't say our names because that's too much attention.
Badger's here.
Green Badger Outdoors, and thank you for joining us.
Yeah, excellent. I was noticing in the names it said Libertarian Duelist. Now, to show you what a nerd I am, I know like I need more evidence. I thought it was DUALIST. And I had this whole thing going on in my head about libertarian dualism. What would that entail? And it's like I started going. It's like, no, you mean pew, pew, pew. It's like that. Okay. That's good too. That's good too.
It's okay, Harry. It's the cough medicine talking.
You know.
Well, you know, dualism.
Do they subscribe to Reason Magazine or not? That's the duality of libertarians.
Yeah, Reason Magazine. I mean, some of the Reason stuff is some of their little video pieces are actually pretty decent.
Yeah,
It's not a bad thing.
It's well done.
Yeah, it's
They like everybody else do sometimes fall down the rabbit hole of not fully understanding how much statistics can be skewed. But that's everybody, so there's no point holding them to.
They
a different
can be
standard.
unrealistic.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Serenity,
But
you're right.
once again, everybody does that, so I can't really get mad at them for when everybody else does it too.
But Sora.
Yeah, Libertarian Duelist is Critical Thinkers Guild.
Okay. Got
okay.
it.
He's
Well, there
told
you
us
go.
several times. We will remember at some point, Libertarian. I promise.
I can't do names. But so Sora,
Yes.
we had a weird discussion in chat. You've been trying to learn how to poach eggs.
Yes.
How's that going?
I haven't done it since I did those ones. I didn't have the time, but I have apparently new tips and tricks from what you've linked me, and then DrFunctional gave some advice. But I quite liked it. It wasn't as hard as I thought. I don't know why I thought. Now, I think we do have somewhere a device that can help you, but I wanted to learn just like,
A
Just wanna learn
device.
the old ways.
yeah, I don't know. Something you put the egg in the thing and you put the thing in the water and it shapes it for you, but that's like cheating.
The Runco Pochomatic? What exactly?
Something like that.
What the hell?
Apparently. We have a device somewhere in the house.
Yeah, well, if you had like labware, you could get one of those things that causes the beaker to stir. You could set that. You could definitely use,
Ooh.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just
like
get one of
the
those little things. I've never actually messed with one of those.
magnet. Well, technically I do have, because I have an espresso Arancino, which
Mhm.
it basically it froths and heats through the magnet, right? So
Mhm.
you put the whichever kind of frother you want on the little magnet, and then it just spills it up. So it doesn't get hot enough to boil, though. That's the only downside to it.
So the question is if you were to bring this topic up with Sanguine, would he be completely disinterested or wildly interested? Because I don't
He'd
think
probably
there's an
try
in
to sous
between.
vide it.
Sous vide eggs are a thing, I think.
Oh, I would, yeah,
Yeah, it's a
It's
different thing.
yeah. It's just that's it. That's one of his favorite ways.
Yeah, well, if you can poach an egg, you can class up pretty much anything from a hamburger to a sandwich to a salad to, I mean, there's so many things you can do with a poached egg. It's a good skill to have. That's you're putting your time in the right place, I think. If you're going to learn to do something, learning to poach an egg properly is not a bad thing to learn.
And delayed hello, hi Cryptic, and Cryptic says you only need vinegar and water.
Yep.
Functional mentioned the same.
Yep. Yeah, we spent way
Cryptic.
too much time talking about egg poaching in Discord. Yeah. All right. Well, let's
It's
see.
the little things in life.
Exactly.
Where in this spreadsheet of happiness should we actually start? Let's see. How about we just start with something that's not particularly heavy at all? Okay, so. Oops. Go away. Go away. All right, so something happened in the San Francisco Bay Area recently. A big-ass seaplane from World War II landed down here in the bay, and that's totally cool. I don't know why it is. I've always wanted, like, the smaller version of this, like an old PBY or something. Because who wants a motorhome when you could have a seaplane? That just seems like if you had stupid money, that would just be the most fun thing in the world to possibly do. But they took this thing up and actually went for a flight. I'll have to kill this annoying background music. But yeah, look at this thing. It's like, this is a museum piece, but it still functions. They trotted this thing out into the bay, and she still flies. Nice piece of equipment. Did you ever have any dealings with seaplanes, Skep?
No, they had the seaplane, the little bay area where they could tow in the seaplanes. That was actually active at Alameda until about 5 years before I got there, and that was when they closed down the seaplane yards. I actually never saw. Did I ever see any seaplane? I didn't see any Navy seaplane stuff. I saw a lot of Coast Guard seaplane stuff, but never any Navy seaplane stuff. I'm not sure the Navy was doing any seaplane stuff by the time I was in. Or if they were, it wasn't around NAS.
Well, this looks like Army Air Corps to me. It says
it
U.S.
does,
Navy.
yeah.
Sorry, it says U.S. Navy, Martin, Philippine, Mars, yada, yada. This picture is from 1945. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is an impressive piece of engineering. And so much respect for these people that keep stuff like this flying and maintain the old boats that are museums. And
Absolutely.
God, I mean, just all the respect in the world. Just talented people putting in
Ryan
their time.
guy on the Missouri who does those things. Yeah, what's his name? Ryan Lemansky or something like that. It's the Battleship Missouri.
Mhm.
that's a YouTube channel worth checking out.
Yeah.
That's to unbelievable detail, unbelievable level of detail.
Yeah, this is a pretty big beast. This this particular seaplane.
that
It's a lot
thing's
like
huge.
the old commercial clippers that basically the flying clippers that they used to have.
Thing's almost as long as a destroyer.
Yeah, it looks like it shouldn't fly. It's got a very Bumblebee-esque kind of appearance to it, doesn't it?
It's amazingly stable in the water, believe it or not. Although, it does not like big waves.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of big waves, this is not the best segue I've ever made, but earthquake swarm, emergency in Santorini after thousands of quakes. Now, Santorini is an island in the Mediterranean. It's also what's left of a volcano that's already blown its top. Essentially, it's the ridge that used to be like the top of the crater of this volcano. And very, very expensive homes and hotels and things are there.
Oh, yeah, that's a ritzy, very, very upscale resort.
It is a very upscale place, and they've had to evacuate people from there because it's not going well. We can just play a little bit of this here. Watch it on YouTube.
On the Greek island of Santorini, following several days of tremors, at least 11,000 people have fled the popular tourist destination. The Greek Earthquake Authority has recorded more than 6,000 tremors off the coast in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's ugly.
Eek!
Yeah. So if things go poorly in Santorini, it's going to be a pretty big financial loss.
Yeah.
But it's good that they're getting those people out of there. Now, supposedly, I was talking to a friend of mine a few days ago who's interested in volcanoes and earthquakes and stuff. And there are a number of volcanoes in that area that seem to be getting a little feisty.
That's all they need.
Yeah, that's all we need.
That's all they need, man. That infrastructure is old as it is. It's going to be.
There's a volcano in California, up in Northern California, and it's not probably the one you're thinking of because I only recently found out about it, that it's possibly in range to act up. And you think about
Shasta group.
It's not Shasta. I forget which one. I thought I was going to put it in the show a while ago, and they said it's too fringy. Nobody gives a crap if California gets blown up by a volcano. But when you talk about like how do you have reliable infrastructure, they say, well, just build solar panels. Do you know that if there was a huge volcanic eruption, it would probably knock out most of the solar panels for weeks in a big chunk of the West Coast? At least for several days. It doesn't seem like when they talk about what the grid should look like, they're thinking about the emergency situations that might come up. I would really like to have some nuclear reactors just to back things up. Even if it costs twice as much money, I want a baseline that's reliable even when it rains ash.
You want a plan B.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely fair. It's something as important as power. You deserve to have a backup, and especially if it's affordable, which nuclear now is, with the right design of plant with sensible regulation.
I worry that a lot of the peak plants, or the peaker plants, I guess they're called, that run off natural gas, that's essentially a big turbine. What would it be possible to run something like that if the air was full of ash? Because essentially, unless you have, it's really hard to filter the amount of air that goes through a turbine in any sort of effective way. You would probably have to shut all of those peaker plants off if there was a bunch of abrasive volcanic grit in the air. So
you're right.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right. You would not be able to filter that. There would be a period of time when you would not be able to filter that. I think that would come and go, but
I just think nuclear makes a great plan B, and I think people who talk about solar as being the answer, the only answer, are not thinking it through clearly, because I don't think people really grasp just how fragile a lot of our systems are in the face of a single volcano. But anyway, enough of that. Sorry.
Go 2 years without power. See how you like that.
Yeah. Well, we can get power in from some other place. Let's see. So Santorini, I really hope that doesn't. I hope this is just an abundance of caution. I really don't want to see Santorini get blown off the map. So Serenity. Oh, she stepped away probably, hasn't she? She is muted, so we will.
She might have, if there's inclement weather there, so she might have issues with the puppies.
That's probably the only time in Serenity's life when she has been described as muted.
Well, we'll come back to this. Let's see, because I was going to talk about something that follow up with something that she talked about last time. Did we get around to mentioning this? Delaware faces exodus of tech companies. Did I mention that last week? Because I couldn't remember if I did or not. Remember the whole deal that happened with Elon Musk and his compensation? A judge decided that no, he shouldn't get what he was supposed to get in terms of compensation. That's too wrong.
I, as the judge, am going to intervene in your compensation.
Yeah. Delaware Judge Kathleen McCormick ruled that Tesla CEO Elon Musk's record-breaking $56 billion compensation package was excessive. Well, Elon got kind of pissed off about this and said,
what law is that based on, Judge?
Yeah, I don't know. But as a result, a number of companies, tech companies that were registered in Delaware are moving to either Texas or Nevada.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing with Delaware, they had something called a court of equity that is very lenient in judgments against corporations. And so it for a long time, it was legally valuable to register your corporation in Delaware. And Delaware just hoard itself out to the corporations. So do anything. We'll be you want to do anything you want, come on here and we'll do it. And they made laws and regulatory adjustments so as to attract corporate registration. And now they seem to have kind of stepped on their dick, if you don't mind my saying.
Yeah.
Screw them.
Yeah, good times.
Screw that weirdo judges.
But I like the fact that the judge overreached and that the self-correcting mechanism of our society is taking appropriate actions.
Yep.
It's it's like, oh, well, why, who caused the most damage to your state this year? One judge.
Right.
And for several, and for many years to come, because it's like, it's not like all the businesses are leaving Delaware, but enough of them are leaving that people are starting to notice. And that's just money that Delaware's not getting.
Texas is very, very friendly to business, and people are discovering that.
I can't remember if we've talked about, do you like Lyle Lovett, hate him, indifferent?
Love him.
Okay.
Love him, love him, love him, love him.
So, you got it. When I see stuff like that, I just hear Lyle Lovett singing, "That's right, you're not from Texas, but Texas wants you anyway."
That's right.
In my
Texas
head.
wants you anyway.
Honestly, I've seen Lyle Lovett in concert twice. He gives a hell of a show. It's fantastic. It's really good.
I saw him just him and his guitar in a room, and he was awesome even without his band. And I would love to see him with his band. Who were his backup singers?
When I saw him, it was when
was it with the four black.
Yep. I saw him like the day after he married Julia Roberts, or like 2 or 3 days after that. He's like, I think it was the day after kind of thing. And I saw him, and it was when he was doing that whole thing with the black gospel singers backing up, and it was him with his large band.
Yes.
That was honestly one of the most fun musical performances I've ever seen. Just outstanding.
And he absolutely seems to enjoy himself.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Sora.
But he's fun to listen to when he's just him and a guitar. Anyway.
He is. In that whole sort of Texas slow talk and storytelling thing. He can just sing about a steaming, greasy plate of enchiladas.
Or taking his pony out to sea.
Yeah. If I bought a boat. go out on
All
the
right.
ocean. Okay, shut up, Harry. All right, so yeah, no, it is pretty good. So speaking of Doge, we don't need to discuss the whole Doge thing, but I wanted to look at the local reaction to just one piece of the budget cuts that are going on. And I actually don't particularly have a set opinion about what this means, but I thought I'd kind of run it by you guys. So let's drag Sora into this one.
Okay.
The community is freaking out. Tahoe avalanche forecaster is targeted by federal workforce cuts. So around Tahoe, government apparently, with the National Forest Service, cooperates with a nonprofit, and I guess they pay for 3 people to cover a 200-mile section of the mountains. And once a day, they do an avalanche forecast that they put out. Well, one of these guys was hired in like 2023, and he's still within his 2-year probation period. So just as a matter of course, they gave him the Doge. They showed him to the door. And so now they're only going to be able to put out the avalanche forecast every 4 days. Now, you know kind of what's at stake. You know, we've got a $2 trillion deficit, and everybody lies about stuff. You know, you can't cut our department. Everything's the way it is. You understand all the basics around here. How does this particular article kind of make you feel? Do you feel like it's just sort of sour grapes? Or do you feel like that the Doge people have gone a little too far? I mean, what's your sort of quick take on this?
For stuff like these kind of safety, it does feel like it's a little bit too far. But at the same time, like if people understand that, hey, due to cuts, this is the timeline of, A, don't go in that area. B, it's every 4 days an announcement. I mean, sure, it's doable.
Yeah,
I don't know. It doesn't seem that. Mind you, I don't live anywhere or have gone anywhere where I would feel in danger of in case there is a avalanche. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just don't go there. Now you know there's going to be less of a warning time, or just travel or ski or whatever you people do up there. Take photographs right after an announcement. Kind
Yeah.
of, and that. It feels a bit of a nothing burger, but at the same time, whenever things that have worked properly, safety for people, it feels a little bit bad when I'm not 100% sure about it when they do cut, but at the same time, it's not the worst places to cut things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is not a year-round job, first of all.
Well, no,
so-
that's a very that's an excellent point, right?
yeah.
You guys have glaciers there that people go on?
We do have glaciers, not as many as you do, but we do have glaciers. But the thought that popped into my head is, why do we need to federalize this to begin with? Because I know that like ski patrols all over the world, have the necessary permission to, blast and clear avalanches, and just all over the world, people do this on a local level, right? Because you've got a ski resort, you pay somebody to come in and take care of avalanches. I'm just not sure why the federal government needs to be responsible for warning local people in California about avalanches. Like this could be a state of California thing, right?
Why don't you make it I was going to say provincial. Why doesn't it deregulated federally and say each province, it's up to you to find it in your budget if you have avalanche season, to properly monitor it.
Yeah, or to get some sponsorships or something from like Gatorade or whatever, and raise the money in the community to hire that other person back as a state employee or something. I mean, seems like there's a million ways to fix this, but the problem is, because of course nobody wants there to be a safety issue. Now with the air traffic controllers, that is a federalized thing, right? So if you start cutting air traffic controllers, you better have a damn good explanation for why you're doing that.
Big things of transportation, your trains, your airplanes, your ships, all of that should be federal and not touched. As I think that would cause a lot more problems if something goes wrong with safety, in my opinion.
I got
Terry?
the camera on.
Did
Got the,
Terry disappear for you?
I've,
Am I
I've got.
speaking to the void?
Yeah, no, you're talking to me. Can you hear
Oh,
me?
I can hear you perfectly, and I see the pretty
Oh,
baby.
sorry. Yeah.
But there's Harry. Terry's
Sorry,
back.
I coughed and hit the cough block and forgot to turn it back.
Yeah, I decided to let our newest edition steal the show.
No.
Look at her baby.
Rescue we got. She was a drop off and taken from the mouth of a Great Dane, who actually handled her more gently than we thought. She was bitten up and badly mauled by somebody else and probably run over. She was in bad shape in August. Now she's doing great.
Yeah.
Okay, I love when they have their lips like that, like their little like pouty lips. Oh, what a nice dog.
Her name is Possum
Poor possum.
because she looks like a possum. My little
A
pup.
good.
It's a good thing Serenity stepped away. She gets triggered by possums, I think. Now, who is it
Do
that
not
hates
get- I do not
possums? I
get
thought it was
triggered.
you. That,
Hey,
Oh, I hate possums.
Oh, it's Skep that
Yeah,
hates
he
possums.
does.
Really don't like possums.
I don't
Yeah.
have a problem with possums. We have a family of possums who lives toward the back of the property. We have rules. As long as they don't touch stuff they shouldn't be allowed to touch, they can have scraps of leftover vegetables during the vegetable
I just
growing
want them to
season.
stay out of my house. Those
Yes.
guys would come in through the dog door into my house when I lived out in Rendon, which is just every bit as much wilderness as what you live in. That was unincorporated rural Texas back when I lived there in the 1980s.
Oh yeah, no, the raccoons will try to come through doggy doors. That's the reason why we don't have any. We've just
Yep.
taught all the dogs to tell us when they want to go out because doggy doors are too dangerous.
Yeah.
And then the cats.
dog pee should kind of keep the raccoons, possums away.
It should, but some of them, human beings have not domesticated them, but they're
Yeah.
not afraid
They-
anymore.
Yeah, they're not intimidating. I know what you mean. They get kind of that. They were getting that way out, even in Rendon. Out in
Oh yeah. They
rural
know what they're
Texas,
doing.
Where
They ain't
Yeah.
stupid.
So
They know
yeah,
the
they're
stupid
really
humans they can
smart.
prey on. They know who.
So
to be like,
Serenity.
possums are much
I'm
smarter.
a baby. Yeah.
Anyway,
Serenity, I have a cookbook from 1949 called
Nice.
America Cooks, and it has some recipes for people on a per state, like, here's a state recipe for this place.
Oh
right?
boy.
And the recipe for West Virginia. Oh, wait, no, that's Wyoming. Okay. I can't see. It's a WY. I'll have to find out because
I
it
was gonna say,
said
that's not a
braised
WE
bear.
there,
and
boy.
it said braised bear, and I was surprised. I'm going to have to go back and check my notes again. Okay, next week I'll tell you what the one is for Virginia. All right. So,
Say we-
did somebody
Country.
mention trains? I think it was Sora
Me.
who mentioned trains.
I did.
So these kind of articles come up all the time, right? Somebody needs to fill some column inches and they want to take a trip somewhere, so they go, okay, I'm going to get on a train. I'm going to travel around, and they have a bunch of different ways you can sort of handle like the traveling sleeping thing on Amtrak here in the U.S.
Yep.
You can either go coach, which is
Yep.
way more spacious than coach on an airplane. It's closer to like
Oh, yeah.
first class amount of space, right?
Plus, you get more room to walk.
Or you can get a roomette, which is essentially kind of like the train equivalent of what you would pay a lot of money on Emirates as like a little pod to sort of sleep in. It's nice. It's okay. I mean, the little roomette, that's what she's in right there. It's not like a full-on suite, but it's fine. I mean, because you've got your little space and you're private and all that sort of stuff. So that's not so bad. And then they've got like full-on rooms that you can have where you can
Yep.
have more than one bed and all that sort of stuff. And of course, the price goes up accordingly. But the last times I've checked, the food is okay. I mean, it's not great, but it's okay. It's decent. There's no real complaints about it. But you cannot beat the scenery. I keep thinking that I really do want to do this at some point because there's a video that I watched here.
Welcome on board Amtrak's most
Where this guy does a 3-day trip basically from Oakland to Chicago. And they try out all 3 of the different accommodations. So this whole video is like 30 minutes long. But almost every single one of these things that I watch, and I don't think they're paid off by big Amtrak, I just go, I want that. I want to go on like a train adventure somewhere. And I can tell you, imagine your girlfriend doesn't want any part of it.
But it's a train. That's fun.
It looks really cool. You know, I mean, the scenery, you really, honestly cannot beat the scenery on this sort of thing. And it's not really that expensive if you don't go for the full-blown room. You know, if you need to be somewhere right away, by all means, get on an airplane. Just get crammed into the flying sick tube and eat the shitty food and be there in a fraction of the time. Because to get from Oakland to Chicago, it's 3 full days. But you get to sit and watch the scenery as you go through Wyoming and Utah and just all these amazing places. I kind of feel like I really do want to do this. I'm guessing that Skep's probably taken a trip like this before at some point. I don't know about Serenity and Sora. Have either of you done it?
I've done a 2-day One Direction 2-day trip from up here in West Virginia down to Florida twice. Mm-hmm. Those are fun.
Well, I'm kind of thinking it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world just for me to go from like San Jose to San Diego. Or even Santa Barbara, honestly. Just go to Santa Barbara and spend a day there.
Well, it's like you have the Zephyr line.
Well, we have the Coastal Starlight that goes all the way up to, not quite all the way to Sora, but I think it goes up to Washington State, doesn't it? You can go from Seattle to San Diego on the Coastal Starlight.
There's something that does, I don't know if it's that one, but it's something similar that leaves here. They've reinstated it last year, I think, or maybe it was in 2023. But it does leave from our central station here, Amtrak, and it's one of those. I'm pretty sure it's one of the fancy ones that takes you down the coast.
Well, you can take the train through Banff and all this other stuff too. The left right for you is amazing too.
It's so expensive. It's like you're looking at 3,000-4,000.
Isn't it really fancy though?
There is a couple. It depends on which line you're taking. Like it's a bucket list for sure.
Yeah.
They had. I don't know if it still exists. The one I would love to do is there was a train. It was like it is a dining train. You take it up to Whistler. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that exists. When I was younger, that was like I've always wanted to do that one. So that is just the day, obviously. But then there is Via Rail, there is CPR, Canadian Pacific Railway. I think there's a third, maybe, line. Mm-hmm. So it depends on which one you do. The cost will vary. But if you want to do like the really fancy, you want to be in like a room, you go to Jasper or Banff, you stop in Kelowna, which is kind of lame, but there you go. That one is very expensive.
Yeah.
The problem is we have very limited, again, no competition, huge swaths of land with a few stops in between. So I've never taken the train in Canada, so I can't really explain. But I love trains. I love taking trains. I would love to do what this guy's doing. But honestly, with a roomette, I would splurge for a roomette.
Oh, I would go. I think the roomette is the way to go. I don't think the full-on room makes a whole lot of sense.
No, you don't need a full room. That's
it's not worth the extra money.
But just so I've done I was saying in the chat because I've been on 2 sleeper trains. I've done sleeper train in England where you're sitting in the chair, sort of like what the coach would be in Amtrak, and it's doable, but I wouldn't do it again. It's just not comfortable. Like it's a sleeper train. You can't make any noise. You can't do anything. So you can't even like get up and walk because it's impolite, right? Like to stretch. At least if you're in a room, you're stretching out as much as possible on a bed or a plank anyway.
Cryptic, I don't think there's a train that still runs from New York City to California.
Not in one go.
Yeah,
you could take the train from Chicago to New York and then take the train from Chicago to...
But there's not a direct... The California Zephyr only runs from near San Francisco to Chicago. You do go through the Moffat Tunnel, though.
Yeah.
When you take that one, but yeah.
But you can absolutely make it work.
I love eating on trains.
Oh, yeah.
There's something about dining on a train that just makes you feel so fancy.
I would imagine that it would be really easy to sleep on a train. That rhythmic vibration that it would just literally just lull you to sleep.
It can, but when you get used to it and the train stops, because it has to, up in Canada, it doesn't have to do this, but down here in America, because of Amtrak only owns a small percentage of the rails. If a freight train's coming, Amtrak has to get over.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when it can get a little, like, because your body gets used to moving, and then when it realizes it's not moving anymore, you wake up and you're like, what the fuck happened? So, and you'll sometimes sit there for a couple hours.
I think I was just looking at a map of rail lines and then I skipped over it like an idiot. Let's see if I can get to
aren't
it.
the rail lines really fragmentally owned in the United States?
Yep.
It's just like little pieces here and there.
Amtrak is slowly buying them back, but part of the reason why America...
They bought 2% of them or something.
Yeah, it's at that, but it's like the reason why America, comparatively to other countries, our items cost less comparatively to other countries is because our freight system is so amazing. Our freight system is one of the many things that people trains we should copy if we had the room and environmentalists wouldn't get a pole up their booty butt. But other countries would benefit from copying our freight system because it's so freaking efficient. And it ends up helping the environment, too, because you're not using tractor trailers to transport all of it. So you do short haul instead of long haul with tractor trailers. But, yeah, our it's mostly Amtrak owns most of the stuff around the stations. But they don't own... Like, I don't think they own one long connector, because everybody I've heard who takes the care of California Zephyr, everyone I've heard talk about it has talked about how they have to the train will have to get over at times to allow freight trains to go through.
Yeah, it's okay.
Well, there's all kinds of stuff having to do with unions and which unions can take care of what kinds of tasks in different yards. It's real specific.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, in terms of what we shouldn't do is I'm completely opposed to this high-speed rail thing that they're trying to build. That
we're not small enough for it. If we were the size of Japan, I'd be right there with them. We're not.
Originally, they were talking about going from LA to San Francisco, and it's like, really, what problem are you trying to solve?
Yeah.
That's the question. So what is the social, political engineer, what is it you really hope to accomplish? And it seems like just planes use kerosene, and kerosene has carbon in it, so it's bad. So we aren't really trying hard to be green enough unless we have a super high-speed electric train that goes from San Francisco to LA. Well, it doesn't go all the way into LA, and it doesn't go all the way to San Francisco. It just runs between as planned, it just basically runs between a bunch of cities in the Central Valley that, in the big scheme of things, do not need a multi-billion-dollar rail system connecting them to carry people.
To get to that speed, it would only be able to go to the outside of Los Angeles and the outside of San Francisco.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be able to stop because it takes, I want to say the Shinkansen takes like 20 miles to get up to speed. And you can't have it doing that every once in a while. So that's literally the only places it could go is to those two places, and that's it.
Well, the money here is just terrible. So they say, as critics of the project have said, it would cost taxpayers $33 billion and completed 4 years ago. That's what they said, right? But they've basically blown through both the budget and the timeline. It's going to be, and it's on Trump's radar. So all of this money that they were thinking they were going to get from the federal government to build this thing, because of course it's green, right? It's an electric train. It is just not going to happen with Trump there. Well, they need to just get over the sunk cost fallacy and just decide, look, you could just feed airplanes, green kerosene made from algae and just give up on this high-speed rail thing. It doesn't make any sense in California. I just don't. Why are we spending all of this money? And I think Trump is going to not give them any of this stuff. So they're saying the project could cost, well, let's see, who is the he? Sorry. Oh, yeah. $100 billion to $130 billion for a train to take people from the southern Central Valley to the central Valley. This is insane.
Why couldn't they just print a bank note that said $1 trillion on it and hand that to them?
Well, just leave it blank. That way they could just change the number as the budget changes, right? Just
leave plenty of room for the zeros.
So, Serenity. So there is one thing that Trump wants to do to close a loophole for the very rich. And I sent you that link. Did you get a chance to actually look at that thing I sent you? It's a little dry and a little technical. But basically, it's a bunch of hedge fund people wanting to treat something that's not really capital gains as if it's capital gains. And he wants to get rid of it. A bunch of Democrats have wanted to do the same thing. So I think this kind of says he's not being just strictly paying off his cronies, because this is not what a lot of the more moneyed interests are looking for. This is very much an F you, pay your damn taxes type of thing. It seems kind of even-handed and fair to me that he's proposing this thing.
Well, I mean, he can, as with everything, he can propose whatever he wants. Whether it actually goes through or not is the big thing.
Yeah.
But it's because I will never have that kind of money and will never use that kind of money. I care, but I don't care. Like, if he passes it and it goes through, whoop-de-doo, that's wonderful. My issue always has been is that whenever anybody projects how much money we will get, because if we do this, we'll get this much money. I learned not to listen, because it's like what you project, what we get, and what we actually get are two different monsters.
Yeah. Well, okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the carried interest thing is essentially you've got a big pile of stocks or investments, right? And the investments, when you sell them, you generate capital gains, but they also generate dividends and interest depending on what's in the fund, right?
Yes.
And that normally, for those of us who are not hedge fund people, would have to claim that if it wasn't in a tax-deferred account as interest. We would have to pay money on it as interest or as a dividend. It wouldn't be subject to capital gains tax treatment. But for the people who run these big hedge funds and stuff, they say, it's just a gimme. Well, you just treat everything as if it's capital gains, even if it isn't. And I kind of like the fact that Trump is being, I think, kind of even-handed with this sort of thing. It's an obvious crony government giveaway thing, a crony capitalism thing that he's taking care of. And if it doesn't generate a lot of money, I don't particularly care.
Well,
but the tax laws should be evenly applied.
Yep.
I agree. My issue is the fear that this will somehow get, and not by Trump, I'm not saying by Trump, this will get transformed into something else that could then hurt other funds that are of not the exact nature, but share enough of a similarity of nature to hedge funds that they will then apply it to that when it's what middle class and lower class people use.
Yeah.
Like HSAs. And that's my one fear.
Well, tax deferred accounts wouldn't be treated this way because they're tax deferred.
Which but I'm still saying is that there is some level of money made per year if there is stuff put in by your business, by the company you work for or whatever.
Right.
And my issue is that I understand what you're saying, but that doesn't mean they won't mutate it into that to get more money because they're not getting the money that they think they should be getting from the hedge fund people. The hedge fund people will just find another way to get around it with the accountants who they pay very well to get around it. And that's my issue, is that I am of the paranoid nature that I'm afraid stuff will then hit the middle class, and that's going to cause problems. Is that what can they turn this into that can be dangerous?
Yeah,
not necessarily what they mean it for.
Yeah, but by that logic, you could never change the tax law for better or worse because they could always turn it into something that was worse.
Well, but that's the thing is, it's like, I'm not saying you don't ever change the tax law. I'm just saying it's that people need to be aware and people need to pay attention and keep an eye on things. This way, you know the game that is going to be played at some point, possibly. Yeah. Because I agree with you. I understand where you're coming from. It's just there also needs to be the awareness of everyone that has that kind of stuff, like I have an HSA,
Yeah. I do too.
that there is the possibility that you'll have some grubby little money grubbers who will try to go and make the umbrella bigger to cover more things that logically shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
And it's that in that case, it's one of those, just keep an eye open, deal with it as best you can, and pray to God no one gets that thought in their head.
Yeah. But treating hedge fund managers the same way as everybody else in terms of interest that their stocks and bonds and stuff make seems completely reasonable to me. But in terms of HSAs, any of you out there who are eligible for a health spending account, which is not the same thing as the what's the one that you get if you're
HRA, I think. Yeah.
No, FSA, flexible spending account. If you're self-employed and you can get an HSA,
Yep.
talk to your tax person and set one of those up, because it's one of those benefits that's, if you're eligible for it, you do not want to skip that.
They're very nice.
Harry Channel endorses HSAs. Essentially, it lets you put money aside and use it for your medical expenses. And as long as they're legitimate medical expenses, you're basically paying your medical stuff with untaxed money.
Lets you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lets you
Yeah.
spend. Lets you put your money aside. Lets you.
Yeah.
God, that just irritates me so badly. That just runs all over
It gives
me.
you the capability to better put your money into a better place to use at a later date.
Yeah. But you know
Let's
what?
put it that
Well,
way.
I'm still mad. I'm not going to get well.
You can be mad, and I understand that's the capital L libertarian in you, and I get it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
at the same time,
Yeah.
HSAs are wonderful for the fact that, especially if you work for a company and you can get them to take it out you get them to take it out pre-tax from your paycheck. It's wonderful.
Well, even an FSA
Oh,
is
FSA
good,
is
but
okay.
that's the one where you have to basically use it or lose it at the end of the year. With
Yeah.
an HSA, you can literally just put $5,000 in it and pull it out
Let it sit.
15 years later. Yeah, sit and,
Yep.
and actually invest it. You can
and
even
they can't touch it until you pull it out.
yeah. But
No one
that's
taxes anything until you move it.
but Minions of the
that-
Zoo does
that's
not
gonna
give
change
people
it.
tax advice. I personally am saying I like HSAs. For you can take
Yeah.
that to whatever bank
What's
will
going
not
to
listen
change
to
in
me.
California, though? If Gavin Newsom gets his way, he's going to tax you on increases of value on your retirement accounts.
Well, technically, HSAs are not retirement accounts.
Well, I mean, but any tax advantaged account, any tax shielded,
Then
and
he's going to turn California into Detroit.
he seems intent on it. You know, the whole,
And hey, if they're stupid
the
enough
whole
to vote for
Soros
him.
machine seems bent.
Yeah,
to it.
they really want to basically say, oh, it's just 1 or 2% of everything you've saved every year. You know, that's fine.
Right.
Yeah,
No.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, you know,
I
all these
saved
people
it,
say,
not
Harry,
you.
you need to leave California. I will be packing up. It'll be like the Beverly Hillbillies, but the reverse.
It's like just doing the backflip out the window, double middle finger. No.
Hey,
Yeah,
I have to cheer Sora up here. Do you want to see some people get hurt on a slide?
Yes.
yes. Me too. Me
Always.
too.
Okay, let's see. Oh, we can do this first one. I'm looking for it. Cat versus aluminum foil.
Oh, those ones are funny. Yep, there we go. Boom!
And what did we learn?
Boom! Oh, that one. Doo.
It seems like it's a fairly effective way to keep cats off of surfaces.
It can be. There's certain ones who have the fuck it attitude who are like, no, I will lay on it now. Screw you.
What the heck? Is it because it's just they're not expecting that texture? Or
Right.
what?
Some of that is Photoshop.
That's pretty
Some of
great.
that is- yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It reminds me of the Ratapult.
Yeah.
The internet states that cats often react strongly to aluminum foil because of the combination of its high-pitched crinkling sound, unusual texture, and reflective surface, which can create a
okay.
sensory overload for them, causing them discomfort, triggering their natural instinct to avoid unfamiliar sensations.
I feel a little bad laughing, but it's so funny to see them like just reverse physics,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, it's also it makes you feel a little less sad when it's like, well, the humans have put it on there because they don't want you on the kitchen counter. Because
Yeah.
they don't want dirty cat butt on the kitchen counter. And
No,
you've
right.
probably
You
been
weren't
warned
there,
several
yeah.
times. So now you...
Exactly.
So the slide where people are getting hurt. I think it's also in Chicago, which I think chat was telling me
Probably.
I mispronounced last time. So sorry about that. Where maybe it was Detroit. Well, I guess we'll find out in a moment.
Oh, that thing where the cop
Oh,
comes out? Yeah.
Yeah.
This is so funny. Is it supposed to be over the turn of the page?
Oh, God, it looks like it hurts. It looks like it hurts so bad. Oh, God.
Why was it so?
How the hell, though?
Well, I think originally they did that, and people were like, they thought the cop was just doing it to have fun. And then it came out later, I think, was that parents were complaining about the slide, but none of the governmental people in the city believed them. So the cop who had a kid, I think, go down that slide or saw kids go down that slide, went down the slide to show them, no, this motherfucker is deadly.
Yeah, here's a follow-up to that.
It almost hurts to watch.
Almost hurts.
A police officer is taking a quick break, heading down a popular slide. Ouch! It's like he's shot out of a cannon. He hits the ground hard. It may look funny, but he had to be treated for a head injury and a banged up leg.
The slide is meant for kids only. Posted warning signs say not intended for adult use and 5 to 12-year-olds only.
But that's not stopping grown-ups from trying it out. In fact, they're flocking to it.
How does a
I would
child
have
fall
loved
down
something like
that?
that.
Check out the bump on this woman's head.
It was really
Womp womp.
scary. I honestly, not to sound dramatic.
Yeah. Anyway,
Not to
That's a
sound
good
dramatic,
time.
but I like totally died.
but yeah.
It's just a good time.
But when kids do it, it supposedly is more like that. It's like, but as you put bigger people on it, it supposedly goes faster. Now, there was some supposed expert here. Let's see if we can get to the expert.
Is it a physics expert?
Yeah,
Blah, blah, blah,
he's
blah, blah.
claiming to be a
Keep talking.
physics expert. I question.
Long. Even this PhD in physics is perplexed as to why only adults are getting injured when, according to the laws of physics, adults and kids should fall at the same rate.
They're not free falling, you moron. That's not how physics works. Okay, Skep, does that infuriate you that there's some physics guy claiming they should go down the slide at the same rate? Because it seems like he's ignoring some partial differential equations somewhere in there,
yes,
right?
Exactly. I was
Jesus
thinking about
Christ.
coefficients of friction and all that sort of thing. But yeah, that's that midwit kind of Dunning-Kruger expertise.
It's some Neil deGrasse Tyson level physics
It
is what it is.
It's Neil deGrasse Tyson level. It absolutely is.
Except he would bloviate and his hands would be moving and all this sort of stuff. And he'd get really loud. Because you can always tell somebody knows what they're talking about when they get louder and louder when you question them.
Oh, no, it would be funny.
Send Neil deGrasse Tyson down that slide.
For that. But also, one of the greatest things to do as a child is when you discover the wonders of wax paper on a metal slide.
Nice.
And all I'm saying is if you want the kids to have the same experience as the adults, just have someone wax that thing up with wax paper. Them kids will come shooting out that thing like a bullet. Woo! And just be gone.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't very good for the environment, because it causes terrible erosion. But there was this hill at a park when I was growing up. And it was a decent little hill. And it turned out you could take a piece of cardboard and slide down that thing.
Yes.
Oh, man. And
You
kids,
need the good cardboard though that had the waxy side.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you needed. You couldn't use
No,
the
we had a
basic
lot of
bitch
nice
shit.
waxed produce boxes. I mean, that was easy. And yeah, we used to slide down that thing all the time. That was good fun.
Or you want to do the lazy person's slip and slide. You take heavy duty garbage bags and line them up, and then get a hose and have a little bit of an incline.
And maybe that's why Diddy needed, 1,000 gallons of baby oil?
Hey, that'll do it. Baby
How
oil.
much
will make
baby
it
oil
real
did that
good.
idiot have? What was it? It was like 1,000 units, and I don't remember what the units were. Was it barrels? Was it bottles? What the hell was it?
Let's find out what the internet says. Woo!
Yeah.
How many gallons of baby oil at Diddy's house?
Was it gallons? Okay.
Gallons of baby
Reddit
oil?
has done the numbers of the fact that there was 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
Okay.
So that equals 110 gallons of baby
Okay, that's
oil.
actually not that much.
No, it's just the bottles. It's like anything. The bottles make it sound bigger because when you say there's 1,000 bottles,
Yeah, 1,000 bottles. That's not that much.
No, it's-
the bridge, that tunnel is,
every home has that much.
that slide is covered libertarian,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't think it will get that hot. because you're not dealing with the baking sun on it until you get to the end.
Yeah.
Then it'll take your skin off the back of your legs.
Well, when the slide is cold, you slide right down it when there's bare skin.
Yeah.
But when it's only a little bit warm, it sticks. But then when it gets really hot, the Leidenfrost effect lets you slide right down it really, really fast. So,
and then the children discover how those of us who are older have random spots on our legs that don't grow hair because of the metal slides that we grew up with that seared them pores shut.
have you ever cooked scallops before, Sora?
I don't like scallops,
Oh, okay. Well,
so no.
no. Yeah, the trick with scallops is actually to have enough heat. A lot of people think, oh, you have to put a ton of oil in a pan and stuff. It's like, no, actually, food, if you put it in there, certain proteins, and you give it enough heat and let it cook thoroughly before you even try to turn it, it's fine. It's just when you sort of do half measures with the heat and the time, and then you try to poke at it, that your scallop disintegrates and turns into shredded scallop. If Functional was here, he would agree with me. See, he's not here, so I can say that, and he can't challenge me, which is fine.
There you go.
I put them in a cioppino,
Yeah.
and and they're good, and that's just stewed. I sear them and then stew them.
Yeah. The I don't really eat scallops all that much, but I do sometimes like to order them. They have them at Monterey Fish House with, of all things, a Pernod cream sauce with fettuccine, and it's much better than it sounds. You'd think, why would I want a Pernod cream sauce? No, actually, it works, surprisingly.
Yep.
Yeah, well, let's see. That was fun. Okay, well, speaking of food,
I want to
so
go.
I've never been to Italy, and I didn't know about this until a couple of years ago, that they basically turned pizza into street food by serving it up like this. You know, it's like New York goes, you know, get a slice, you fold it, and you eat it.
No.
Why?
No.
Why?
Because that's not the type of pizza you want to do that shit with. No.
I think they in Napoli know how to serve pizza.
No, I don't think they do. I think you need to sit your ass down and eat the damn
It was
pizza.
invented there.
I don't care.
Yeah, so they fold up
Doesn't
the
mean they're not
pizza,
wrong.
put it in the
Yeah.
paper, and then just walk
You're right.
around.
You're right.
Doesn't mean
You're
they're
absolutely
not
right.
wrong.
You're absolutely right.
Do I want to go to Naples and eat Neapolitan style pizza and walk around? Yes, I actually do want to
Well,
do that.
but that's the problem, though, is that most places in Italy you can't walk and eat.
You can
They
there.
have. No, you can't. That's the issue.
You gonna tell that nice old man that he can't walk around and eat pizza?
Well, if you look, he's not eating and he's not walking. It's
Not
literally
yet.
just it's literally just a video for the.
I feel like you're
the
being
restaurant.
ableist.
Oh, I am absolutely, because Italy does not. Italy has passed new laws not allowing you to eat and drink in certain places and walk around. You're not allowed to sit on the Spanish Steps anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You are not allowed. There's certain parts of the Duomo, as well as many other places. I think Florence is one of them too, where you cannot eat and drink, and when you walk around, you have to sit down and eat and drink.
Yeah. This is not the only thing I've seen or watched talking about how they do this sort of walking around with
I'm
folded
sure-
up pizza thing. This isn't just an ad from one old guy in one pizza cart. This is something they actually do.
I think you tend to find this more in the urban areas in Italy, you know, because out in the country, like where my family comes from in Gubbio, it's much more like what Serenity was talking about.
Hey, Serenity.
Yeah, eating in the streets is banned in Florence and elsewhere.
Yeah, and that's Perugia. Or Perugia's just south of there. That's Gubbio. Yeah, exactly.
And that comes from Rick Steves' Europe.
So, hey, gamers.
Yo.
Hey.
You like graphics cards, right? All the kids love graphics cards. But sometimes graphic cards are too slow and they overheat, and that's a problem. So I introduced to you this article from Tom's Hardware, which is not really
That's
all that
what
serious.
I'm talking about.
4090 liquid cooled with 12,000 BTU air conditioner. So,
That's what I'm
I
talking
got your
about.
graphics card cooled right here.
Yeah.
So basically, he took a 1-ton split air thing and hooked cold water output
Good
out to
Lord.
a water cooled GPU.
Good Lord.
So
That's taking that a little too far right there. That's
so
what
the
that
result is that the GPU runs at 20 degrees Celsius under stress testing.
Wow.
Yeah,
is. 68 degrees, which is not bad.
Yeah, well, considering it
That
wants
is
to
a
be like
lot of
infinity
energy.
degrees, yeah.
Yeah,
Under
Yeah, but
stress,
that's-
that's under stress
that's
testing.
a lot of
Yeah.
a lot of energy transfer.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was with Skep on this one. That's a lot of electricity to make that thing that cold.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, actually, would you like to know how much electricity it is? It is
How much is
1.2 kilowatts per hour.
kW per hour?
Yeah.
No.
Well, I mean,
Cheap for that.
obviously, depending on what's called the SEER value of the air conditioner, it could vary. But in general, it's about
Depends on the game too.
it's about 1.2 kilowatts for 1 ton of cooling if you work the math.
Does it tell? Did they say what game they tested it on? Or
They
was
were
it a
using
benchmarker?
stress benchmarks. They
Okay, it
weren't
was stress
they weren't
benchmarks.
playing games.
But
see,
my
if this
point
was Linus
they're
Tech
shipping
Tips,
out a lot of heat. They're getting rid of a lot of energy.
well, this is obviously not meant to be a serious way to do this. It's just
an
proving a
interesting
point
engineering thing
that your
Yeah.
GPU is way too damn hot, for one thing, and stop it. You know,
Well, then
It's
they need to calm
alternative.
down with the graphics. I don't
Yeah.
know what to tell you at that point.
How's that light bus coming?
Yeah.
well, I remember the first time I was confronted with, I was installing an A100. I'll look that one up on a GPU
An old
server,
boy.
and I was like, what the hell happened to the connectors on this? It's like, oh, I need 2 power connectors per card. It's like, Jesus Christ. I mean, it was like hundreds
Do you
and
have to
hundreds
solder
of
them in
watts.
yourself?
No, I didn't have to solder it in myself, but it threw me for a loop because it's like I've got like basically the equivalent of 2 ATX connectors going to this one card with like, it's
Yes.
just crazy. Just,
I know.
I did a
Harry
double
has-
take.
has
What is
seen-
this?
Has seen chips wired and soldered into place with like on little wire prongs that can be clipped and changed out. That maybe that was more back in the old days. There was some interesting hardware switching you could do.
Also, Johnny, hello, Johnny Hellcat. And also, it would have to be Final Fantasy 14 going into the hardest, longest dungeon with the largest amount of people. And I want to see someone play with that card and see how long before that air conditioner goes, I'm out.
Oh, there's no way that card, the amount of heat that's coming off of that GPU is nowhere near the amount of cooling capacity that air conditioner has. It's
well, I know,
it's
that's what
by
I'm
like a factor of 5.
Yeah, I know, but that's my thing is like, if I use stress testers because that's how I tested to see how good my graphics card was for the amount I paid for it. Mm-hmm. So I get it. But at the same time, it's like, I will be impressed by this setup when they can do that shit. Or City Skylines 2 on the highest graphic settings for 6 hours. Just go. I would see the heat. I would see that AC unit go, fuck you.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna.
That's what I would see.
I'm looking at the stuff in the thumbnail because I always try to cover the stuff in the thumbnail if I can.
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel like it's false advertising if I put something in the thumbnail and then you, the people, don't get what's in the thumbnail. That seems, pretty
fair
tacky
statement.
of me not to put it in there. So, let's see. I did mention was a photography, right? So there's all this AI image generation stuff, and I'm a reasonably well-trained photographer in certain aspects of things. So I actually really like photography. It's one of the few art things that I understand really well and I'm almost halfway decent at. And between Photoshop and AI, I kind of feel like it is going to go the way of the buggy whip. And there's all these great techniques that we have that people have come up with that are just going to they're just going to go away because why create something when you can just AI it? And to me, that feels kind of sad. So
it's like when you see the kind of paneling that they used to do back in the 19th century, and you realize that the craft of making that kind of paneling is gone. I'm talking about the thick oak paneling that they did back in the day, and a lot of those craft skills are gone. This craft skill may well be gone for exactly the reason that you say. I'm not the photographer you are, but I had an SLR. I had a series of SLRs. I had was into it. I understand what depth of field is. I know how to play.
Oh, you're gonna love. You're gonna
apertures and
love
the
this. You're gonna love this, Skep.
And it makes me sad that I can just, if I want to take a picture of my granddaughter, I just point my phone at her and it's done.
Yeah.
And there's no art to it. And I haven't taken the Konica out in years.
Well, let me show you some outdoor macro photography. This I think is kind of cool. It's just a YouTube short, so this is easy. So you see he's it used to be back in the day that you'd have this thing called a light box, and it would have all these little flexible spigots of light, that was kind of like something you'd almost see in a medical office. Like, this goes up here so that the camera can see what's going on. But you would use it to literally sort of shape the light going onto whatever your subject is. And because of technology, he's got these little portable lights that he can take out into the forest to do this stuff. It's so cool. I'm going to kill the sound. So he's got tiny mushroom. He's got a couple of these little lights set up. And right now he's basically just painting the subject with the light that he wants for the photo he's going to take. I love this technology. This is so beautiful. So he's got it lit just the way he wants it to be. Sorry, we're going to get to the actual photo in a moment.
Well, these little devices are very cool.
This is, yeah, because this is way, you couldn't take this stuff. Yeah.
He's got these mushrooms practically growing.
Wow.
Toadstools. Beautiful. Look at that.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
that is fantastic.
That's beautiful. It just touches me.
Yeah, I mean, he's basically painting with light. He's found something.
Exactly.
It's and the technical skill, but just the artistic vision to know that this is what you want to do to get this kind of result.
And there will be people who will say, "Well, it's more beautiful in natural light." To which I say, "Fuck you! It is not. That's just bullshit."
Yeah, I like being photographed on my good side too. So shut up.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, all this sort of macro photography stuff, there's a lot of different things. This is just the outdoor part of it, right? This is like so cool. But in terms of things you can, let's see, where's the other thing? Oh my gosh, did I actually completely and utterly screw this up? Let's see, is this the one? No, not that one. Give me a second here. Harry's unorganized because he doesn't feel well. I actually was showing this to Prospero earlier. I was almost wondering if we needed to drag Kree in here.
Are these like making everyday look like miniatures?
Yeah, that's the next. I'm giving away the lead. That's the next thing that comes after what I want to show you. But I'm being incompetent. I apologize. Okay, so this is indoor macro photography, and they're playing some Pink Floyd in the background, so I have to silence this.
They will copyright strike your ass real quick.
Okay.
David's funny about that.
So he has what's called a tilt shift lens. He's setting up this colored thread. He can set the light up the way he wants, and this is like using a light box with LED sources, illuminate the whole thing. So he's got this colored thread going through this needle, and he's setting the shot. This is a beautiful shot. Get your aperture right, get your light set up, and he's actually painting it that way. He's doing a 2-second exposure. And you get this.
I was going to say, it's like, is he trying to do a recreation of Pink Floyd's?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
But it's like
Dark
a
Side of the
tabletop
Moon
macro
cover.
photography thing with the colored thread. I mean, and everything, all of the highlights on the metallic part of the needle are, that's all by design, right?
Yeah.
All this illumination. And he can do that because what he's doing is you're looking at this thing and he's actually changed the focal plane so it's just focused on the needle, not blurry at the top, blurry at the bottom. Like literally the focal plane has been adjusted so that the needle is in focus and the thread is not, even though it's right next to it. And that uses a piece of technology, basically a $2,000 lens that most of us do not have. And it's the kind of thing that annoyingly you can simulate in Photoshop. You can use Photoshop to basically selectively blur things to make things look like this.
Yeah.
So all of the art that goes into making a photo like this can be faked in the digital darkroom.
Darn it.
And that kind of irritates me in a way.
It kind of pisses me off.
You
Yeah.
know, it's like being a cook and being frozen and then thawed out in the 25th century and find out that the replicators make better creme brulee than you do. Like, that would piss Functional off, I would think, you know, that kind of thing. But then with the same tilt shift lenses, you can actually do the thing we were talking about with like the miniatures. So by essentially blurring out everything except the subject you're trying to look at, it tricks your brain into thinking you're looking at something very small. And this is so cool to me because that looks like you're dealing with like miniatures or little models or something, but this is actually a full-size scene. It's just because he's blurring the top and the bottom of it and keeping the center of it focused on the things he wants to look small that are in sharp focus. You get this synthetic effect, which is, I think, kind of cool as hell.
It's really kind of cool.
Yeah, it really is kind of cool. And how it all works is actually pretty interesting. I'm going to put a link in the chat for anybody who's actually interested in this if we haven't lost everybody already.
No, I put the link in chat for me.
Okay, because this is a video that actually sort of explains how all this stuff
Help you
works.
visualize what happens to the focusing plane when you tilt a tilt-shift lens.
Yeah, so going back to his little picture, so you get up high, so you're looking down on it, and you give it the effect where it looks like it's a model by blurring the top and the bottom. And he's changing the focal plane. It isn't this big flat thing that's some number of feet out in front of you. It's actually shifted relative to the ground. And you can do this because you have the technique to do it. But you can also just do it in Photoshop, which shouldn't really annoy me because I like cool things, you know, but these little miniature photo things just amuse the crap out of me. I don't know. I'm just shaking my fist at the wind at this point, aren't I? It's just dumb.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you.
Don't even get me started with what's happened to sculpture. Good God, we used to be such a fantastic species in Europe. And we can't, honestly, it does not seem like we know how to do that anymore.
We're not turning out sculptors anymore.
No, we're not doing a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's still places where craft still actually matters. You know, there's people who do high-end, clothing and different things, and there's people who are going to be willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I told you that my shoes, I know it sounds fancy, but my shoes, I have 2 pairs of them, and I just continually have them go out and get resold, and they were made by like a bunch of old guys in Wisconsin. And they were custom made and they fit my feet perfectly. And yeah, they cost me $400 a pair, but I've been using them for decades now. I've spent way less money on shoes than most people I know.
Hey man, whatever works for you.
Yeah, well, I mean, you buy something good and you take care of it. That's the difference. I actually bought like a $25 pair of shoes recently off of Amazon just because I wanted some shoes that I didn't care about. Again, it kind of surprisingly, they actually weren't terrible.
Yeah, it's a good place to get painting shoes.
Yeah, I feel it's a Timex Rolex thing, right? You know, because some people will tell you there's no reason to own like a fancy watch that isn't at least something like a Rolex. I mean, because the Rolex will hold its value. The Timex will just do its job and be cheap. But if you're spending $200 on a watch, you're just wasting your money. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily my opinion, but some people say that. What do you think about that?
Here, see, the reason for valuable watches was that watches used to be valuable. Even a simple watch was a thing of real value, and only people in the upper echelons of leadership in society or the very rich carried a pocket watch. And over time, that became kind of a fetish of the watchmaking industry to make more and more valuable watches, keep that value up there and develop that market. And the high-end watch industry became a thing of status to have a high-end watch as opposed to a proletariat watch like a Timex. And that was a status thing for a long time, but cultural values shifted. That didn't become a marker of status that people talked about, that was current in people's minds. So anthropological change happened, and as a result, we are here where we are today.
Yeah.
And where, if you want, the only thing that will hold its value are the watches that are Rolex and above. There are more expensive watches than Rolexes, and those are the only ones you could buy that will hold any value.
Well,
if you buy it for that reason. So anyway, it devolves to a matter of how much aesthetic appeal your watch has for you, how much value, how much utility you get out of that. Is it enough to warrant the expense? Is that the best use of your $200? If it is, mazel tov, enjoy your watch.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, if it's somebody else's money and they want to spend it on like a tennis shoe collection or watches or whatever, it's like, hey, if it's your disposable income, you do whatever mazel tov. It's fine. Honestly, I really, as long as it's somebody's disposable income instead of, I don't know, what should be their IRA contribution or their contribution to their kids' college fund or something, then fine.
Exactly.
Sorry, I had to open the 3-pound bag of Ricola before the show, so I just keep muting myself instead of coughing into the mic. Hopefully I can keep doing this properly. Okay, so we're against foldable pizza. You guys amaze me. How about something, let's see, where are we in terms of time? How about something fun and frivolous?
Always.
Did you know, and I had forgotten about this because I think I blocked it all out because it's terrible, that before Linda Carter was Wonder Woman, they did like a TV movie of the week thing on ABC with Kathy Lee Crosby as Wonder Woman.
I did not.
I did not. So here's the terrible trailer for it. Okay.
Can't see it. You can hear it, but we can't see it.
Oh, you can't see it?
Her faking on our end.
You can see it now, right?
Now we can see it.
Oh, it's doing that thing where OBS gets screwed up if I have too many tabs. Okay, but we'll play through.
Oh, I love her outfit.
Isn't this a great theme they have to it?
Boy, look, we discovered synthesizer.
Just burrows into your brain.
Look, she's Wonder Womaning it up all over the place. She's got a stick.
Yay!
She's tossing people into things. She's kicking people. She's riding a motorcycle. She's tried to get to a horse and they closed the door on her. That's like the glass ceiling, but it's a glass door. It's pretty terrible.
It's weird that she's blonde. That's what bothers me.
Yeah.
Really a problem, isn't it?
Here's like a compilation of all the times she used her supposed powers. There's her kicking power, the elevator closing power. Here she's being attacked by like the Green Hornet or something. I'm not sure what's going on. Oh, got away. Yeah, this is really not the Wonder Woman I want.
It's not very superhero, is she?
Yeah, and here she is. She's going to get into a stick fight, and that you recognize that woman, Skep?
This isn't really Wonder Woman. This is more mediocre woman.
This is sort of,
sort of
it's sort of, it's sort of like asking somebody, "Are you hungry?" Yeah, I could eat. It's that level of enthusiasm. So you recognize this woman, Skep?
Let's see, who's that?
I can't remember her first name, but it's that Harrison woman from Planet of the Apes. The one who played Nova.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, they trotted her out, put them both in like their little outfits, and they just chewed up scenery with this stick fight for a while. Yeah, there's only 3 big networks. You turn on the TV and you want some quality entertainment, and this is what passes for fun. Good God. Some things in the past are not good.
Yeah, this was when I would say I'm gonna go down out to the drop zone and go skydiving.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the current days where we have all this entertainment and all these people making stuff and spaghetti sauce in a jar from the store is actually good. I don't like everything about the past. I honestly don't. Some things about the future are way better.
Oh, yeah. This is
At
great.
least
This
the
is the best
costumes
time
are
to be
cute.
alive right now.
You like her costume?
Yes.
It's functional. I mean, you know, she can actually move in it. She doesn't have her bits hanging out. I mean, yeah, it's
trying to be positive, but that's about it.
Yeah,
It's
but
not
the-
Wonder
the-
Woman.
But the blonde hair and the kind of mediocre superpowers are it's a detraction.
Well, I mean,
100%.
it's not even as good as a bad episode of the $6 Million Man.
It's true. And there were a lot of bad episodes of the $6 Million.
Was this around the time Charlie's Angels was?
This was
Yes.
before. This was before Charlie's Angels.
Yeah, this was actually before.
And they
This was
actually
a decade
offered
before.
her the position that Linda Carter ended up getting later. So they actually tried to bring her into the thing with. Wasn't Cloris Leachman Linda Carter's mom, like in Amazon Island or whatever it was called?
Yeah, I think it was Cloris Leachman.
Oh,
She's a
God.
Northwestern grad, by
Cloris
the way.
Leachman. Jesus Christ.
She and my fraternity brother Warren Beatty were the hits of the WAMU show at Northwestern.
Nice.
They were in the big annual show together.
Well, remember I showed, I probably like 2 years ago, I showed like the Captain America TV movie that I think was also ABC. And it was craptacular. Do you guys remember that? Or did you block it all out because it was just that exciting?
Probably blocked it out of sheer necessity. I mean, at least there's a bit of charm to it, I guess. Maybe you can laugh at it.
Yeah. Okay. Here. Fine. Here. We'll do this. Captain America.
Factory TV, changing the channel.
And we'll not do too much of this because I don't want to get in trouble. So here's the Captain America one.
I want you to remember something when you get out of jail, pal. The old people around here are my friends. If I ever do they have problems again, I'm coming after you. You got that?
Honestly, probably still better than the new DEI Captain America thing that they just came out with.
Yeah, no kidding.
I think I'd actually rather watch this than the new Captain America movie. Let's see. Here's the most replayed part, so let's go there. He jumps on boxes. And then climbs up cables. I think Rerun there tried to get him. Yeah, I'm sorry. Some of the, I mean, this is not the golden. This is not from the golden age of television.
It is not. No.
I really enjoyed all of the crap that was on syndicated TV in the 1990s, like The Crow. Oh God, The Crow was so good. There was so much good syndicated TV, and even the bad syndicated stuff was really good.
RoboCop TV series.
Oh yeah, RoboCop. And if you wanted to just make fun of something, you could always go like Black Scorpion or Nightman. I'm a bit of an expert when it comes to bad TV from the 90s. I know a lot about it, unfortunately. See, it's too bad Functional's not here. He would probably have some candidates he'd want to nominate. Oh, but Silk Stockings, all that sort of USA cable network stuff was good. Back when they realized they didn't just have to play the national anthem and show a flag and turn everything off at 11 p.m., they just ran shitty TV all night. Kung Fu: The Legend Continues. That was great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
So I think that was like the apex, was like the 1990s. Yeah.
Those are all the good. It's hard for me to know. Is it great because that's childhood, so you see it with nostalgia glasses, or was it actually good?
I've gone back and watched some of that stuff, and some of it is actually pretty good. I mean, but I actually enjoyed the bad stuff too. So I mean, I'll watch an episode of Acapulco Heat, HEAT, with Fabio.
Yeah, fantastic.
Fabio and Allison Armitage. Okay, sorry, I've gone way off script. Okay, let's stop talking about all of this. Let's see. What do we need to do next? We don't need to talk about
required
Wonder
viewing
Woman.
for everybody.
Yeah.
The homework for next week.
Yeah, well, there's a certain amount of it we just can't do without Functional being around. Let's see. Liquid cooled. Oh, we should talk about the ocean, right?
Welcome back. Sure.
Okay. How about this?
Boiling. Are we going to all suffer and die?
A humpback whale appears to briefly swallow a kayaker off Chilean Patagonia. Kayak, gulp.
Woo!
And then the whale said, "No, I don't want to eat that," and then kicked him right back out. But briefly, he was swallowed by a humpback whale.
Hey. It's Pinocchio.
Jonah. Pinocchio. Oh, yeah, Pinocchio was in a whale too, wasn't he?
Jesus.
Yeah.
Hey, I went biblical.
There are two people. One Pinocchio, the other one Jonah.
Except he's from Patagonia, so it'd be Jonas. Yep, gulp.
Whee!
See, I'm telling you, the ocean is a terrible place.
Comido ya y que me había tragado, pero claro, yo sentía que quizás era una orca, habíamos estado
He thought it was
hablando
a
de
killer
orcas
whale
poco antes, entonces
because
tenía
they'd
eso en
seen
la
him,
cabeza.
but it turned out it wasn't
Pero
a
ya
killer whale and he
cuando
didn't die.
salí entendí que
That is a rough 19. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
he's got the life. Kayaking, rock climbing. He's got that cool poncho. Everything is going well for this guy. He didn't get killed by the whale. I think it's
I
nice.
do love the fact that it shows how little they see killer whales down there. He's like, I thought it was a killer whale. And humpbacks
We were
look
just talking
nothing
about
alike.
them.
Yeah.
It's like they look nothing alike. And if it was a killer whale, honey, you would be dead. You wouldn't even, just head gone.
So, so this was off of, where was it? What did it say? Oh, the Strait of Magellan.
Oh.
First of all, that's a fun place to kayak just to begin with. That's not exactly
Yeah,
the calmest bit of ocean to be in.
That's like asking to run aground and have an albatross appear or something like that. Like if you're
Stay calm, stay calm, he can be heard saying after his son was released from the whale's mouth. I thought I was dead, Adrian told the Associated Press. I thought it had eaten me, that it had swallowed me. Well, technically, it kind of did. He described the terror of those few seconds and explained that it was real fear set in only after resurfacing, fearing that the huge animal would hurt his father or perish, yada, 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 yada. Despite the terrifying experience, Dell remained focused, filming and reassuring his son while grappling with his own worry. Yeah, at least it wasn't a killer whale. That's good.
Well, it's also the fact of if a whale decides to swallow you and is big enough to do so, there's not much you can do.
Exactly.
You might as well film for proof at that point. And we lost Skep.
You can just rely on his good nature. Did we lose him, or he didn't leave?
Yes.
We actually just lost him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we'll let him back in. Just tell me when he shows up. So yeah, he got swallowed by a whale. All right, let's close.
Cool.
Let's close some windows before OBS decides to be annoying again.
Before OBS goes, fuck you.
Okay. We can go back there, and then we can do here. I need staff. Okay. So
orcas are not technically sharks, rather red feather. They're orcas.
But they're all dicks. Okay, so
Yeah, they
remember
are
this.
assholes.
Finally
the
tonight, some
anglerfish.
marine researchers were out looking for sharks the other day off the Canary Islands. Well, they found something quite unexpected.
Have a look at this. This is a humpback anglerfish known as a black sea monster.
Have you seen
Black
how big it
because it's
actually
black,
is?
And sea monster because, well, look at it. What else would you call it?
It's a female.
Yeah, she is not pretty.
What else would you call it? A female.
Well, the thing is, someone actually showed how big they actually are. They're not very big. They're like half the size of your palm. Like, they're tiny.
Doesn't matter.
I know. I mean, she ain't pretty, but it's like, that's still her.
At least she's small. So the thing that's significant about this is that usually they're very deep water fish. And this was
Yeah, it's
actually
usually-
filmed up near the surface, meaning it's breaking one of my rules. It's like my live and let live thing. It's like if you stay down at the bottom of the ocean where I don't have to think about you, that's fine. But if I go out to the wharf and I see you looking up at me, then we're going to have issues. So this anglerfish needs to stay in its lane. But
Well, the speculation was that she was sick or dying, because they'll do that sometimes.
Well, I mean, she looks so healthy and full of life. I'm not really sure why they would think that. But anglerfish have
the females absorb the males after they mate. That's what Red Feather just said.
That's the thing. So they essentially the males become like little hitchhiking parasites. And I know there's a joke here somewhere. but they actually lose their eyesight and everything else and just end up living off of the
Female.
vital fluids of the female. They don't eat, they don't see, they don't do anything. They just basically just act like barnacles.
Yeah.
Yeah. That doesn't sound very empowering.
Oh.
Yeah. So, yeah. The male becomes a permanent parasite on the female, his small body left to simply trailing along in the water beside hers. Slowly he fuses to her, becoming an irremovable appendage. In this relationship, he is completely catered for. He no longer needs his eyes, so he loses the ability to use them and relies on his host for all of his nutrition. Even his bloodstream eventually connects with hers. Aww. Sounds like love.
One.
Yeah. Oh, the power of one, the power of many. I don't know. Is this like that Star Wars thing? The Acolyte?
Huh?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm gonna watch that crappy show. Okay. So there's some ugly fish and somebody got swallowed by a whale.
Woo!
Okay. Let's see. What else do we need to do in the next 10 or 11
Gotta give that
minutes?
humpback whale credit for the perfect esophageal control, though.
Yeah.
Like, that's impressive. Like,
Yeah, he
oh,
just
God, it's a
punted
human.
that guy.
It's a human.
Yeah.
Spit it out. Spit it out.
All right. So, well, let's see things that happened in the last week in terms of the winning. I thought, I'm not going to go into the whole Trump thing, but the fact that Trump revoked Biden's security clearance really only makes sense. It's like, oh, you mean the guy who's not well enough to stand trial? We shouldn't trust him with current information about our security situation in the world? Yeah. That just seems like common sense. And I thought it seemed a little spiteful, but then it's like Biden really isn't in the right mind to be managing that kind of information. And I guess they did the same thing to Trump, didn't they?
Yeah, it's turned into a spite fest between everybody recently.
Because for the longest time, we all just got along and had some level of respect in the different parties. But I guess those days are over.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like, I don't disagree with you, Harry. It's just at this point, it's just a spite off at this point.
Yeah, but I
That's
don't
all
think
it is.
I don't think he's capable of responsibly managing that data anyway.
Oh yeah, agreed.
Or
But it
staying
still
awake during the briefings.
That still doesn't change the fact that it started when Biden did it to him.
Yeah.
Which was spiteful and pathetic.
Yeah, breaking
So it's-
decades of tradition.
It's only fair it's done in the reverse.
Well, I mean, nobody's going to respect you more if you just sit there and take it. You know, it's like, I'm taking the high ground. No, you're just being a punching bag. That's all that is. That's just, I actually don't really have an issue with him doing it.
Yeah.
There's two reasons to do it. Either one of them is sufficient.
He's answering in kind.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
Yeah.
If he was doing it in a vacuum and no one had done it to him, I would absolutely be like, you're being a petty little bitch. Stop it.
Yeah.
But it's like, it was already done to him. So it's kind of like him doing all the executive orders stuff that was revoking Biden stuff. Like, Biden did that to his executive orders when he got in. So I can't be mad at Trump for doing it because then I have to be mad at Biden, but I was mad at Biden, but it's still that whole thing of like, he's just answering in kind. You all he's answering with the same energy you all put out.
I don't know if I mentioned this last week. I'm just sort of cleaning up some articles. Did I remember to point out that El Salvador offered to let us send
Yes.
prisoners down to their mega prison?
I think you did a drive-by of it.
Okay.
Like, you did a real quick and go to a wow.
I gotta say, Marco Rubio is he's a busy man. It's like, I think he's being punished for being capable. It's like, oh, let's just give Marco the job. Yeah, he's just accumulating way too many responsibilities. I think his span of control is kind of out of control.
Well, until Doge gets stuff refinagled and moved around and cut out, he's going to probably have to deal with that for a good while longer.
Yeah. So this happened, and it's actually reasonably important. So ISS, which is, what is this thing called? What does ISS stand for? Institutional Shareholder Services. This is one of these things that, you know, forces you to do your, not DEI. Why can I not remember the name of it? ESG, ERG, I can't remember what it is, but there's various things that they would do in terms of recommending things and giving valuations to companies that they would pass on to investors. And they were previously looking at the ethnic and gender compositions of the board of directors, and that was influencing the advice they would give to institutional investors. A lot of money was not going to businesses that didn't basically kowtow in terms of quotas on their boards of directors. And they've decided, well, the winds of change have blown, and it's time to stop doing all of that. So BlackRock and Vanguard have reduced their diversity focus and stewardship policies. New York Comptroller criticizes ISS over policy change. That's how you know it's that it's good. But this thing happening in the investment services is actually a big deal. Because this will make it a lot easier for boards to sort of hire based on competence rather than just trying to fill quotas. Because I've spent time in boardrooms and stuff, and I can tell you that I haven't seen any bad ones yet, but I've heard tale that not all of the people that they've put on boards to fill these quotas have worked out so well. It's just not a place where you want weak people. Right, Skep? Oh,
He's not
Skep is
there.
gone again.
Yeah, he's dropping connection every 15 seconds.
Oh, maybe he needs something to water cool his PC. Like
Probably more to water
like a
cool than probably his router or
12,000
something like
BTU
that.
air conditioner. Okay, well, let's put a check next to that. I've got some space stuff, which we will do in spite of Functional not being here. Let's see. Scrolling. Okay. So you guys, I'm sure, are aware of this story about there's a 1 in 48 chance that a city-killing asteroid could hit Earth in 2032.
Yeah.
I assume you've heard of that.
Yeah, isn't the actual percentile chance like 2.32 or something like that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Have you heard about this, Sora?
Sora's muted. She's probably dealing with the dogs.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Obviously, this is the kind of thing that gets people's attention. This thing is big enough that if it landed in a city or, say, crashed into a city, it would pretty much take the damn thing out. This is a not trivial piece of debris that's floating around out there.
Yeah.
So they're going to be doing an awful lot of fine-tuning to figure out what they're going to do. But the Earth is a really big place, right? So
They
assume
could just
it,
hit the ocean.
yeah, I mean, assume it's like a 5% chance, right? And it's something that could take out an entire city. What's the smart thing to do? Is it to spend the next 10 years obsessing over making preparations and trying to do something heroic to move it? Or do we just assume that it's probably not going to hit, so we probably don't need to do anything? Because at 5%, I could see arguing either way. Because we way overreacted on the COVID thing, right? So is this going to be the new COVID? We're going to retool the entire world just because of a 5% chance that an asteroid's going to take out one city?
Well, it's one of those things where it's kind of like, it's 7 years out. Technology will either A, get better, or they're going to, as you said, fine-tune the algorithmic equations to see where it's going to hit.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff. And it's like one of those, it's like if it looks like it's going to hit a city, I'm assuming they'll try to do something about it. But if it's either going to hit somewhere like really rural, like up in Canada or the ocean, I don't think they're going to care. They're still going to care a little bit because if it hits the ocean, it can cause tidal wave effect. But beyond that, it's like, yeah.
Well, this isn't one of those big planet-killing things. This is like
Yeah.
a city killer, right?
Yeah, it's
so
just a
it
city
isn't
fucker.
going
That's all
to
it is.
land in the Pacific and then wipe out the entire West Coast. Sorry, everybody wants the West Coast to be wiped out, but that's probably not big enough to happen here. But they're going to go over all of the records that we have because, of course, we have all these photographic plates and stuff from different surveys. And it's not, you can't really predict where it's going to be, but you can look at where it was. And then you feed that data into the models to fine-tune them. So in a fairly short amount of time, we'll have a much better idea of this thing, what the risk is. But it's going to be, it would actually be pretty close to the time of it impacting for us to figure out like which city it was going to land on. Like
Red Feather, we pull an Armageddon. We send a drill team up to it. One car goes away, and then someone has to stay on the moon to blow the nuke up. That's what it is, not the moon. Stays on the asteroid to blow the nuke up. That's how you do it.
the way to do
Armageddon
it for real.
And then Aerosmith sings.
I can't remember. It's going to come by one time before that, as I recall.
It's going to swoop us?
Well, it's basically 2 orbits from now that it's going to have the encounter with us. So if we wanted to change the orbit of this thing, once we work out the numbers, we could put some kind of essentially space tugboat on this thing to just nudge it.
Wasn't that what they did to that one asteroid a long time ago?
We've experimented with it, yes.
Yeah.
Well, they actually hit it with an impactor.
Yeah.
And the impactor gave enough kinetic energy difference to move it. But since we have ion drives and solar cells and all these other things, it would be, if we needed to do something more substantial to this thing to move it, you could just basically put like a space tugboat on it and have its just little ion drive just fire for years. And that would move it a lot.
The supervillain comes out of the woodwork. It's like, I control the tugboat.
And then he points it at California.
And then everybody goes, okay, have fun.
Hey. Sora's back.
Hello.
So, are you worried about the asteroid?
Come here first.
Yeah. I think, honestly, unless it's bigger than we think it is or whatever, we probably need to just take the hit. But if there's something we can do that isn't going to cost trillions of dollars, yeah, absolutely do it.
Yeah.
Sorry, losing my voice again. All right, so killer asteroid. How about this super cool picture from Hubble? So this is the bullseye. They're referring to it as the bullseye galaxy. And let me see if I can make this image bigger here. Let's see. I know there's a thing here. Okay, there's what we want to see. So it actually has 9 rings, not spiral arms with bands, mind you, but rings, starting from the inside, working its way out. And what we think has happened...
Looks like a gobstopper.
Yeah. If you look at it's 9 o'clock, right? You see this blue blob of stars. What they think has happened is that thing essentially hit this galaxy previously, almost dead center, and managed to pass through, and it created waves like when you're dropping a rock in a pond.
Cool.
Yeah.
And those waves, as they word out, you have nodes and antinodes in this wave, right? And so where the pressure pushed things into the ring formations, it created star formation. So you have 9 rings of stars, many of them young, in this galaxy, and they're calling it the Bullseye Galaxy. As far as I know, we've never seen one like this before. They had to actually scratch their heads to figure out, that's different.
Yeah, that it's like a giant cosmic smoke ring.
It looks like when those big jawbreakers that you could get in the 90s, it looks like when you cut it in half.
Yes.
That's what it looks like.
Oh, yeah, those things. Those were cool. Yeah.
Red Feather says it also an agate slice, and it does.
Yeah, I can see that too, yeah.
It's too bad Geo's isn't here.
Have his cookie monster cookie rock.
But this, I mean, as Hubble pictures go, collisional ring galaxy is how they're describing it. This is freaking cool. This is really, really, really nice. Good job, Hubble. You're still doing useful stuff.
It's a good little satellite. Oh, it's a good little telescope.
Yeah, and Blue Origin actually successfully landed the first stage of one of their rockets, finally. They had a little problem with that first New Glenn rocket, but here's the stage of the New Glenn, the first stage coming down.
Those air brakes have deployed, which
gotta
is really
tell you,
cutting
it's
the
pretty damn
booster's
smooth.
velocity down. Again, ignore the stats that you see on the screen. Those are not accurate today. All right, there's engine relight.
Burning kerosene and alcohol. Very little visible flame. We think that's an alcohol engine.
Methane.
Methane, okay.
Yeah, Blue Origin's the one who's been trying to use more and more engines that don't use regular fossil fuels.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Well done.
Methane is a regular fossil fuel.
Yeah, well, liquid methane. Well, you can get it organically, of course, but as regular, obviously. But the thing about the methane is there's advantages and disadvantages to every rocket fuel, right? So they use different fuels in different stages.
Yeah.
I think to take off, they used hydrogen-based fuel, I think.
I'd have to go back and look. I don't want to put bullshit out into the universe, but I think they actually use hydrogen, liquid hydrogen, in the space stage. Not in the vacuum phase, basically, not in the booster thing. But you know, when you see the SpaceX ones come in, they look like they're falling like almost uncontrollably out of the sky. and at a weird angle. It's like you look at the thing
They
and go,
come
that
in hot.
cannot. Yeah, they come in hot. This looks very well disciplined compared to the SpaceX thing. There's really not a lot of drama here.
It uses liquid oxygen, LOX, and liquefied natural gas, a commercially available form of methane to produce number thrust at sea level.
Are they roughly the same size, the two boosters, or is this one substantially smaller or larger?
This
than
is similar to
SpaceX?
the Falcon 9.
Falcon 9, okay.
Yeah,
so
this is nowhere near the size of Starship, but it's similar to Falcon 9.
That's the BE-3PM.
Okay, gotcha.
That's the new liquid hydrogen-fueled rocket engine.
So that's but that's a low Earth orbit platform for them, right?
I don't think.
No. This is a
That's
high performance vehicle. You could obviously you can use them in different ways. Like if you're willing to sacrifice the first stage, sometimes you do that for things like I'm sending a probe to Jupiter and I'd like it to arrive sometime in the next 50 years. So you burn all of it, right? And that's where the that thing that's based on the Titan missile. What is that thing called that the ULA puts out? That we've seen a million times, which basically is like a big central rocket with two solid rocket boosters. It's a Delta. It's basically a modified Delta missile, Delta 5, right?
Yeah. Delta 4, Delta 5, yeah.
But those things, I mean, you need different kinds of vehicles for different kinds of payloads in different kinds of orbits. There's a lot of room. There's like, there's no shortage of demand for these things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's definitely room for people to be in the space business that aren't competing directly with SpaceX, right?
This will be a positive pressure on prices too. It will tend to keep them competitive and efficient.
Yeah, they need competition. It's good.
Yeah, Boeing and places like that need to be goaded. Need like you said, competition.
Well, just stupid government contracts. This whole just give us your aspirational goals for this project and pricing, and then we'll just pay you whatever. And if you need more money, we'll give it to you, and then we'll give you an evaluation, and you'll get your bonuses based on cost plus. It's like, God, no. That's not real competition. That's just spending the government's money and it's just no.
And pretending, going through the motions, and not accomplishing anything.
Well, I mean, accomplish the minimum, right? Just the minimum that they won't cancel you. So it goes at the speed of the Webb telescope. That was not like the best run project, but I think part of the problem there is that the technical goal was so hard to hit that a lot of those delays were understandable. But a lot of it was also that they were working with government money.
Absolutely, it'll be there next week.
Yeah, better, faster, cheaper. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Anyway, we've actually done our 2 hours plus a few minutes.
Ooh.
So I think, considering that my voice is starting to fail, we should probably call it.
Yeah, Harry.
Any final thoughts? Sora?
When the asteroid comes, I suggest you drive to where it's landing if it's near you and just accept your fate.
Yeah. Lawn chairs. Yeah.
Maybe an edible if it's legal where you are, I guess.
I don't think it would really matter at that point, don't you think?
It just calms you down so you don't panic and try to run away.
At that point, it's too late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, get your freeze-dried bunker steaks and get your shovels and start digging, everybody.
There you go.
All right. Well, with
get that well started.
This has been the Minions of the Zoo for Saturday. Thank you, panel. Thank you, chat. The zoo is closed. Good night.
Good night, everybody.